Shalom Aleichem. Good tavach, everyone. Shavua Tov, good week, whatever they say. All right, so this is going to be a little bit new for me, this setup of here. Technically speaking, we have a little bit of technical difficulties. I have my good friend JJ here who's going to work with me, hopefully. We've done this many times, and it's gone successfully every time. We've never had a glitch together, so we'll see. Tonight could be a first. Okay, welcome to a part of the Discovery Seminar. Discovery was actually, it's brand new. I think it was started in 1987. And we're going to now continue with it 30 years later. But we have innovated we know that this famous conference is called Innovation or something like that, and that we've gotten fancy with something called Prezi. Prezi is, you'll see in a minute, a presentation that just brings 30 years old into modern day. Okay, so for those who have never been to Discovery before, this next slide is not going to make so much sense to you, but we're going to do a little review of what we've done so far. And what we do is like this. We discussed codes. Was anyone here for codes? Anyone here for codes? All right. And we also spoke about ID info. Did anyone hear that class or seen that? Then you didn't discuss that. The next one we saw was 7 Wonders. Anyone saw that over Shabbos? 7 Wonders of Jewish History? Okay, come to Israel. And last but not least, we have something called control. Now, what is control? Control is less of a level of verifying the fact that there is a God in this world, although it does that as well, as much as what it does is it shows that God actually has control. In other words, can he pull off what he says he's going to do? There's a very, very famous idea found in the Torah, and that's known as Maaseh Avot Siman Labanim. We know that there's a lot of stuff, this book called the Torah, the Bible. The question is, the purpose is what? What does the word Torah mean? Good instructions or teachings, and that's the idea. Excuse me, I'm getting blinded by this light in serious ways, but it means instructions or teachings, and to come and teach ideas. If that's the case, then why do we have all the stories? This week's portion, we're going to see a lot of, actually. Look at that HP moment. We're going to see a lot of this week's portion in this presentation here, and that is that what's the point of all the stories? Just tell me what I got to do. Wake up in the morning, brush my teeth, make some blessings, go to sleep, Shema, peace, good night. Why do I have all? And there was a guy named Jacob and a brother named Esau, and they fought. Like, who cares? Says the Ramban, comes along the great and holy sage, Nachmanides, 1194, 1277. Please silence your phone, all those giving presentations. And he says the following idea. Says the Ramban, Maaseh Avot Siman Labanim, or of your yeshiva, Shesmai Salva Siman Labanim. What that means is that the happenings of the fathers is a sign for the children. So all the stories that are found in the Torah are not there just to give you some good reprieve from rules. The stories themselves are teaching us, are giving instructions. For example, let's just say, we have someone in the name of Abraham, Avram Avinu. Does anybody know where he lived? Anybody know where he lived? Canaan, good. What happened when he was in Canaan? That's right. What happened next? They went to Egypt. Excellent. What's next? They were oppressed. What happened to Sarah? Abram and Sarah. Sarah gets taken by the king of the time. What does she do? She cries out. What does God do? He sends plagues, not frogs yet. And last but not least, they leave with great wealth. That's the story of Abraham and Sarah. Again, they're in Canaan. There's a famine. They go to Egypt. There are plagues. They go, what happens? They cry out. God sends a plague. They leave with great wealth. Let me tell you another story. With one of Abraham's descendants, one of his grandchildren by the name of Jacob. Okay. And there you have it. Thank you, Vanna. Okay, now, let's take a little story about Jacob. Where did Jacob live? Anyone? Good. What happened when he was in Canaan? There was a famine. What happened then? They went to Egypt. What happened in Egypt to the Jewish people? They got oppressed. What did God do? The Jews cried out. What did God do? Now we got the frogs. And last but not least, they left with great wealth. Hit it one more time. What do we see, my friends? It should look similar. Oh my goodness, it's the same thing. And so they say, but wait a minute, that's Abraham and that's Jacob. You get the idea. This is called Maaseh Avot, Siman Labanim. That which happened to the forefathers is a sign of what will happen to the children afterwards. A king is what will happen to the children afterwards. Okay, what we're going to do right now is we're going to show another little storyline that doesn't play 200 to 300 years like the one we just saw, but rather plays itself out throughout the millennia, even up until modern day. And if we'll be able to do that, we'll be able to show that the hand that wrote this book actually has control. Again, what does that mean? A person gets upstairs after 120 years, and you're like, all right, God, I did what I got to do. I'm ready for my reward. Give me some of that reward. What you got for me in store? Come on, baby, I'm ready for my reward. And God's God's like, oh, you didn't get the memo. Sorry, there's no reward. I don't know who told you that. I thought I had control. No, I don't. We're going to actually take a look and see, does the Lord actually control what's happening in this world? Okay, so if you didn't get what I just said, you will in a moment as the presentation goes on. If you still don't get it, you probably won't get it anyway. So hopefully you'll get it. Here we go. A little history. Let's go back to Abraham. So Abraham has how many sons? Who knows how many sons does Abraham have? 2 sons. What are their names? Good. You're catching on to this game. Ishmael and Isaac. Now Isaac has how many sons? Good. What are their names? Esau, Jacob, Esav, and Yaakov. Now, Esav and Yaakov have a number of battles. Not just a number, they've actually, we're going to go through 3 in particular, and we're going to see that these 3 in particular perhaps play themselves out throughout history. Excuse the 3 missing, it will come back later. All right, so now this presentation is a little bit fun. Now the first, go back one slide. Now what is the first battle between Yaakov and Esav? Anyone know? You guys are brilliant, and that's what the first battle happens in this week's portion. The battle is over. Who's coming out first? Who's coming out first? Who's on first? Who's coming out first? All right? What's on set? So we know who's coming out first? Yaakov and Esav, because I'll give it to you, not yet. I'll give you the finger in a minute. Right? So it goes ahead. It says who's going? Relax, people. I wasn't talking to you. All right, so go ahead. And the first battle, Yaakov and Esav, is who comes out first. Whoever comes out first is going to get the birthright. Not just a free trip to Israel, although it is also, okay? But also whoever gets the birthright is going to be getting the blessings, right? They're going to get the blessings. We had Abraham, we had Isaac, and now whoever comes after Isaac is going to get these blessings. Now, where are these blessings meant to come to fruition? Ultimately, in the land of Israel. That's ultimately where they're meant to be. And we just read it again this week's parasha. Mital Shemayim Mishmane Earth, and the fast of the heavens for them to do the earth. We're going to do the heavens and the fast of the earth may be blessed, which we're going to come to in a minute. The first battle, Yaakov and Esav. Let's take a look and see what happens in that battle. So we know that they're fighting back and forth to find who comes out first. Esau. Why is Esau called Esau? In Hebrew it's spelled as follows. Esav should look like another word in Hebrew as asu. What does asu mean? Done, finished, cooked, terminamos, finalizamos, done. He comes out a red, hairy beast. Following him is a guy named Jacob. Jacob is grabbing on to his ankle, so we call him ankle. Now that, my friend, is what the word Jacob in Hebrew is Yaakov. Yaakov is ankle. Something I shouldn't say, but I have a heel, if that makes you feel better. Heel, so they call him HB, heel boy. Now, they go ahead, and he comes out first. He comes out first, looks like Esav won the battle, but he didn't win the war, because a couple of years later, what ends up happening? Go for it, I hope. Let's see what comes up next. All right, beans. All right, a couple years later, wrong presentation, sorry for that. So there's a couple years later, what happens is we know that Yaakov is making a stew. What kind of stew? Lentil stew. Why was he making a lentil stew? Because we know that this fellow by the name of Esav. Why is Esav there? Hold on. Click. Is there an arrow? An arrow. Go again. Edomite. Edom. Oh, right. Now I understand. All right. So what happened is they're going in. They're making this stew, and he goes haliteni na min ha'adom adom hazeh. This parsha, right? If give me some of that, pour down my throat. Some of that red stuff. So he says, okay. And then comes the Torah and says, this amazing narrative. He's like, give me the red stuff, says the narrator. We will now call him red. And then the Torah continues. As the pasuk says, Al Kain Kor Shemo Edom, we will now call you Rojo. And if you notice a little foreshadow, it's red. You see that? Okay, so they go ahead and they call him Edom. Edom is the Hebrew word for red. Why was he going and making this stew in the first place? Because Avram Avinu had died and Isaac was mourning. Therefore, I don't know what's coming next. He goes ahead and go back one. And what does he do? He goes, you didn't see anything. Everyone look at the light and let's start over. And so he goes ahead and he makes him the stew. He makes him the stew and he goes ahead. He says, give me the throws. He goes, oh, you want my soup? You want my beans? You want my beans? I'll give him my beans. I'll sell them to you. Just sell me your birthright like today. Sell me your birthright. This is like a very beautiful moment in Jewish history between two brothers, It's like you fight over something. I want the iPad, And the guy goes, he's like bleeding, he's like dying. He's like, oh, water. Sell me the iPad and it's yours. You want the water? Sell me the iPad. That's when he goes. He's literally dying. I'm going to die. He goes, sell me the birthright. He's like, he sells us this scorns anyway, and he sells him the birthright. How do you sell a birthright? Come to another seminar we'll talk about. But he goes ahead and he sells him the birthright. Now, fast forward a little bit later, in this week's parsha, once again, what do we know? That Yaakov is a beautiful man. Yitzchak is dying, so he calls Esav, who he thinks is the oldest, and he says to him, go catch me some game, so I can satiate my soul, and then I'll bless you. He says, you got it, Pops. In the meantime, we know that Yitzchak, is married to someone whose name was? You're not sure. Okay. Well, I'll give you multiple choice. Is it A, Rivka, B, or C? Anyone? Okay, Rivka is correct. If you haven't yet caught on, then you're missing everything again. All right, so here we go. So Rivka overhears this. She goes, this is bad news for the Jews. So he goes, hey, Jacob, I want you right now. Go get me you're going to go in there and you're going to go get the blessings. But Mom, one problem. What is it? I'm not a hairy beast. That's okay. We'll get you dressed up in goat skin, de toilette goats, and get on in there. Get the blessings. But Mom, what about the curses? The curses shall be upon me. I shall take them for you. She says, okay, gets dressed up, walks in there, and he says, here I am, Dad, bless me. So Yitzchak goes, well, who is that? Who is that? Because at this stage, we know Isaac can't see so well. Why couldn't he see? Anyone know?
Because it's like when he was on the thing.
Yeah.
The tears went in.
Absolutely correct. What she mentioned was, I think, if I can just ad-lib a little, when Isaac was up on the altar, is that right? When he's being brought as a sacrifice, the angels cried and the tears went from there into his eyes. He couldn't see so well. Another answer is that the smoke from idolatry went into his eyes. Another one is a little bit complicated, the Ramban. He says that the reason Isaac couldn't see so well is because he was old. Now, in any event, he goes ahead and he wasn't able to see. It's classic Ramban. Let's go with what's just straight up. When I say classic, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I wish I learned Rambans and I'd call it classic. But I've heard people say it's classic. Classic. Says the Ramban. He was old. So he goes, who is that? Who is that? And he says back to one of the famous lines in the entire Torah. He says, Anochi Esav Bichorecha, which means I am Esau, your firstborn. Any problems with that statement besides the fact that he's lying? Anyway. Good. He was lying. What's going on over here? Comes along Rashi, says, don't worry. Put a comma. And now you switch it as Anochi. Who is that? I am. Esau was here. No, back. I was like, nice, JJ. I am. Esau is your firstborn. Like, kind of like now it's no longer chicken, skiing on the Alps, orange, like random statements that are coming along. So we've gone from a lie to a white lie. How does that work? You're looking for Yaakov Kamenetsky and Emes Yaakov. Beautiful shot. Not for now. Although it is for now, but I don't have time because you got some sort of keynote and they're going to fire me again. Here we go. So no, don't do it. So we got like this, the following idea. I am Esau, your firstborn. He goes, what? Let me feel you, son. Let me feel you. He comes over. He feels him. He goes, you're pretty hairy. You must be him. And as they say, Mitala Shemayim Mishmani Arts, from the dew of the heavens, from the fats of the earth, may be blessed. Like a beautiful screen. Hold it, not yet. Like a beautiful screen. And what happens? Out walks Jacob. In walks Esav. Esau comes in. All right, Dad, here I am. Bless me. And he goes, what? Me? Info? Who? Where? Your brother. He says, what? Mi hermano. He tricked me again. He goes, what do you mean again? He goes, first, he took my birthright. Now he's taking my blessings? He goes, now hold on 1 second. Did you just say he took your birthright? You mean to say really he's the one who deserved to get this in the first place? Gam baruch yeh, so he shall remain blessed. Battle number 1 between Jacob and Esau. What do we got? J1, E0. Now, for those who are not familiar with the word nil, it is an English word which means nothing or zero, right? Okay, in Spanish, I believe it's nada, not to be confused with nada, which means to swim. Okay, so now, same word, different meaning. Okay, so that, my friends, battle number 1, Jacob and Esau, birthright, blessings, going to Israel, J1, E0. Now at this point we know that Esau is not too thrilled, right? Esau says to Jacob, hey Jacob, good move, boy. You should just know that I'm going to kill you. And Jacob goes, oh yeah? Well, I completely believe you. So what does he do? He runs away. Where does he go? He goes to a guy named Lavan. Im Lavan Garti, Taryag mitzvos, Shamai. What is he? Going away to this guy named Lavan. Lavan was a trickster, and he goes there, he messes with him, and he's there for quite a while. He hangs out there for quite a while, until finally what ends up happening, he's told after a number of years. How many years was he there? Anyone know? Good. He's there for 22 years. And what ends up happening after 22 years, God comes to Jacob and he says, Jacob, it's time to make your way back to the land of Israel. Time to make your land back to the land of Israel. He says, all right, God. And he makes his way back. Who do you think he's going to greet on his way back to the land of Israel? Someone by the name of Esau, who is coming with an army of 400 men. Now, Rashi brings down, when it says 400 men, it means 400 generals that each had 400 men. It's 160,000 people are coming towards him. And he's like, oh, no. No. We got ourselves a problem, right? So he said, what are we going to do now? So what do we do? He goes ahead and the first thing he does is, land of Israel. And what does he do? He sends gift after gift after gift after gift after gift. Next thing he does is he goes and he prepares for war. The next thing he does is he prays. What do all good Jews do when we have problems? We bribe, we pray, we split. So what he did is he splits up the camp and prepares for war. And he finally comes up. Let's see what happens. I don't remember the screen thing. Yeah. All right. And they go and they meet up with each other. And what does he do? He comes along. And Esau, what does he want to do to him? He comes in. He gives him a kiss. He gave him a kiss. Okay, the Gemara says he tried to bite his neck. Neither here nor there. Well, then where is it? Okay, but it's here. What do we say over here? He tries to give him a kiss. Dots on the thing, tries to bite his neck. He comes this love, and he makes his way back into the land of Israel. Battle number 2. Jacob and Esau going into the land of Israel. What do we got? J2E0. So everybody understanding the model. So the second time, a battle between Jacob and Esau, making their way into the land of Israel, J2E0. When is the next time? What is the next time Jacob and Esau get into a little bit of a battle? That goes like this. So we know that Yaakov makes his way down, and eventually what ends up happening, he has a son. And then what happens to his son? He has a son by the name of Yosef. And what happens after having Yosef? Yosef gets kidnapped, and Joseph in a technical code, he's taken for, does anybody know, how many, burial. Keep going. Israel. Yeah, keep going. Is anyone famine? Okay, let's go back. So what happened is there was a famine in the land, and when they go back to the land, what happened to Egypt? And when they go back to Egypt, what ends up happening? We know that Joseph is taken for how many years? 22 years. They'll finally goes and he meets up with him again. And when he meets up with him again, he has, I don't know what's going on here. There is a cave all of a sudden. There is a cave in Hebron. Okay, now we're going to come to this in a minute. They go ahead and they haven't seen each other for 22 years. And he finally goes ahead and he makes his way back to the land of Israel. He makes his way back, he meets up with Joseph after not seeing him for 22 years. They go at it, and then he's living there in Egypt. After a number of years, he calls Joseph and he says, Joseph, I'm dying. How many years? 17. After 17 years, sorry, I set you up for that one. After 17 years, he says, Joseph, I'm dying. He says, no. He says, yes. He says, okay. He says, I want you to promise me something. He says, what is it, Dad? He said, I want you to promise when I die, that you will bury me, not here in the land of Egypt, but rather you will take me out and bury me in the land of Israel, in Marat HaMachpelah, the cave of the doubles. Not here. And he says, Dad, I'll do it. He says, swear to me. And I swear by the moon. I'll do it. You got it. I'll do it. I'll be there. I'll do it for better work. But if you got that, you gone. We're going to take over the land of Israel. I'm going to bury you over there. Why do you make him swear? Why do you make him swear? Beautiful Rashi over there. Not for now. But he goes ahead and he says, okay, I swear I'm going to make sure that I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up the land of Israel. Now, why do you want to be buried in Marat HaMachpelah? So who is buried in the cave of the doubles? Hit it. Anyone know? Right.
And Yitzchak and Rivka.
Right. Who else?
And Adam and Chava.
Correct. Who else?
And
You got this. You got Leah and blink line. Okay, good. So what do we got? We got buried in the cave of the doubles. Why is it called the cave of the doubles? Gemara in the Dharma, I believe, page 54, gives two explanations over there. Why? Because it's a cave within a cave, a cave on top of a cave, or what it was is because doubles are buried there. We got Adam and Eve, we got Abraham and Sarah, we got Isaac, Rebecca, and we got Leah and whom? Why was it so important to Jacob to be buried in Marat HaMachpelah in the cave of the doubles? And he made him swear. He says, okay, Vayishava says Yosef HaTzadik. How many people are called Joseph the Righteous? How many people have the name righteous attached to them? Yet he goes and he makes them swear. Answer is, it was so important. Try to imagine for a moment you go into a tour of Marat HaMachpelah. They say, welcome to the cave of the doubles. We got Adam and Eve, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac, Rebecca, Leah, and Esau. How would that look for us? How would that look for the Jewish people? wouldn't look too good. You want to know who owns a land, you check out the cemetery, who's buried in that land. You want to check out, Jacob says, you better make sure you get me there. He says, you got it, Pops, and what does he do? I'll bury you there. So they go ahead, and what happens? He ends up dying. And then there's a whole funeral procession making their way up to the land of Israel. As they get to the land of Israel, who do you expect to be there to try to stop them? Uncle Esav. As they get there, Esav standing, sword drawn, Gemara in Sota Daf Yud Aleph. Actually, it wasn't a sword, it was a stick. But he's standing there with a stick. And he says to him, now where do you think you're going, boys?
We're just going to bury Dad. Dad died. We're going to bury Dad because he died. We're just going to bury him.
Well, not in my land. This is my land.
Uncle Esav, we speak about this every bar mitzvah.
You sold it to Dad fair and square. He goes, oh yeah, where's the bar mitzvah? He goes, where's the deed? Show me the chozeh, where's the contract? He goes, of course, because we carry contracts to funeral processions. We don't have it with us. He says, I ain't letting anyone in this land until you show me that deed. What are they going to do? They're stuck. What are they going to do? When to come for you? Esav. So they're stuck. What are they going to do? So they go ahead, there's a guy by the name of, very fast guy. Naphtali starts running back to the land. Naphtali, yes. He starts running back to the land of Israel to go get. In the meantime, there was someone else there by the name of Hushim ben Dan. Dan is one of the tribes. One of Jacob's sons is Dan or Dan. Leslie Dan. Thank you. And there's another one. You have to throw that in. And there's one below that. He had a son by the name of Hushim. What does Hushim mean? Every yeshiva guy says that. What does Hushim mean? Maybe I missed it. Anyone here speaks Hebrew? Senses. Or Chushim means senses. He was deaf, and as a euphemism, they use the word Chushim as if he could hear. He's there. He doesn't know what's going on. He didn't have Facebook. He never saw Esav. All he knows is that this red hairy beast trying to stop his grandfather from being buried. His grandfather is being frying in the Middle Eastern sun. So he goes over to him, takes out a stick, and wham, knocks off his head, killing Esav. Head rolls in, showing the idea. What do we have? Battle number 3, Jacob and Esau, all going to the land of Israel. This time we have J3, Enel. Now listen again carefully. It doesn't mean never fought before, they have sibling rivalries. We're talking about in particular going into the land of Israel, in particular the idea of Jacob coming out victorious over Esau. Now, if it's true, that which we said, the Maaseh Avot, Siman Labanim, that which happened to the forefathers is a sign of what will happen to the children afterward, the Ramban 1194-1277, then what do you expect to find? What do you expect to find? 3 battles, not with them, but with the descendants of Yaakov and Esav, the descendants of Esau. Remember, Esau was called what in the Torah? Edom, namely the Edomites, the descendants of Esau, the Edomites, and the descendants of Jacob, the Jacobites, Israelites. We expect to find 3 battles, but not just any battles, 3 epic battles. All of them going into the land of Israel, all of them with Jacob coming out victorious. Hold on one second. So let's take a look. When is the first time the Jewish people as a nation made their way into the land of Israel? Anyone? So that's one answer. Any other answers? That was good. I like the Achdus. Beautiful. The first time they attempted, come on. The spies is a little bit, right, as they're coming, they came out of somewhere, let's put it that way. Where'd they leave? Egypt. Okay, let's make it that way. Sorry, you guys get the correct answer, but I'm looking for a particular, you're going to see in a minute. As they leave Egypt, making their way, ultimately trying to get to the land of Israel, there was a little bit of a delay. The men didn't check the map. But anyway, the point is that they didn't have Waze yet. Whatever your joke of the day is. Point is that they didn't get there for many years, but they were trying to go to Israel. Who came to stop them? Someone by the name of Amalek. Anybody know who won that battle? Again, going to the land of Israel. Who won? The answer is J1 Enil. The only question is Amalek a descendant of Esau? If he is, then we've got our first model of the descendants fighting with the descendants going into the land of Israel. So is he? Yes. So let's take a look. If we take a look, we see the following. Esau had a son by the name of?
Ali.
Hit it? Eliphaz, excellent. Eliphaz had a son by the name of Amalek. And this, my friends, is yeshiva education. Yes. We'll see how long it lasts. Now, this over here is Amalek. Keep it up. God willing, it's Hashem. The Lord should bless you and your loved ones. Okay, and myself as well. Everyone in the room shall be blessed. Amen. Amen. should have lots of money. Amen. There's a bigger, stronger one for that one. Okay, so you got this. Esau, Eliphaz, Amalek. So we see indeed Amalek. Not only is he related, he's a grandson. He was, well, there's also a little hinky-pinky, I'm my own grandpa stuff, if you guys know that song over there. I'm my own grandpa, whatever happened. Bottom line is, Amalek is a descendant of Esau. Bam. So we got ourselves story number one. What ends up happening? Well, when was the next time the Jewish people as a nation make their way to the land of Israel? You may ask me, what do you mean the next time? I thought they were there. The answer is they were exiled for a predicted 70 years by none other than the ship from the Matrix. Anyone? Nebuchadnezzar. Good. Nebuchadnezzar Melech. Bavel, Babylonian king, goes ahead and he exiles the Jewish people for a predicted 70 years till they start to make their way back. Does anyone come along and try to kill every man, woman, and child in the Jewish nation at that time? Someone in the name of? Boo. Good. Someone in the name of? Haman. Boo. Now, does anybody know when that was going into the land of Israel? Anybody know who won that battle? Good. What do we got? J2 Enel. For those unfamiliar with the story of Haman, I'm sorry if you heard this one before. It's classic. This one really is classic, not like Ramban style. And that's what? It's all of Jewish history. If you know the story of Purim, they tried to kill us. We won. Let's eat and drink. Okay, that's perfect. All right, so let's eat. So that's what happened over here. They go ahead and we won. Beautiful. We made our way in. Battle number 2. The only question is Haman, boo, a descendant of Amalek? If the answer is yes, and we got our second model, the answer is no, then I guess presentation is over. So let's take a look. Let's take a look and see a little quote from the scroll of Esther, chapter 3, verse 1. They don't have the sound effects on. Number 1, King Achashverosh promoted Haman, the son of Amdasa, the Agagite. What in the world is the Agagite? Mommy called me an Agagite. So take a look and see. Next quote. This is found in Samuel 1, 15:32. Samuel said, bring to me Agag, the king of Amalek. What do we see? That Agag is the king of Amalek, Hamanbu, an Agagite. Indeed, Hamanbu, a descendant of Amalek, descendant of Esau. We got ourselves model number 2. When is the next time the Jewish people as a nation make their way towards the land of Israel? What do you mean the next time? I thought they were there. The answer is they were exiled. For almost 2,000 years, the Jews have traveled to the diaspora. Join us today to see when they come back. Does anybody know when is the next time the Jewish people start making their way to the land of Israel? 48, a little before that. Not much, a little bit before that. Okay, there was an attempt. There was an attempt with the students of the Vilna Gaon in the late 1700s, which did not do too well, failed miserably until the mid to the end of the 1800s with the students of the Chassam Sofer, the end of the 1800s, beginning of the 1900s, known as the first waves of Aliyah. Did anyone come along towards the end of the beginning of the 1900s that wanted to kill every man, woman, and child in the Jewish nation? Anyone? That was always. Anyone? Someone by the name of Hitler, and the Nazis. Hit over there. There's number 3. Okay, and the Nazis. Anybody know that was when coming to the land of Israel? Who won that battle?
We sort of lost that one.
I was a little nervous to answer on this one. So we have 2 different things. We have what's called a knockout and a technical knockout. What was Hitler Maximal's goal? Wipe out the Jewish people. Did he win? No. The fact that we're still here, in the words of Eddie Vedder, I'm still alive. And the fact that the Jewish people are still here, that goes to show, technical knockout, baby, we still here. You don't got none on us. Yeah, hit it, J3, Enel. The only question is, sound effects, are the Nazis, the Nazis, are they descendants of Amalek, or Amalek if you prefer? If they are, then we've just shown 3 and 3. And that which happened to the forefathers, what happened to the children afterwards. The hand that wrote this book actually knew what happened, what will happen, and perhaps has some control over the past and the future. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Let's take a look. So we're going to do right now, Emir Hashem, with a lot of help from Hashem, because I really need 27 minutes, but let's try. So we're going to go through this. 2 different ideas to take a look and see. Are the Nazis descendants of Amalek? Number 1, we're going to be looking at what's known as the Talmud. Number 2, we're going to be looking at a grogger, otherwise known as the story of Purim, or if you're drink a little too much, Purim, or if you drink too much, Hanukkah. All right, let's take a look. We're starting off with the book of the Talmud. Does anybody know when was the Talmud written down? Approximately how many years ago? 2000. 2000? Anyone else? 1500. Do I hear 16? Go here, 16, sold. Your hand went up, whether you like it or not. Approximately 1,600 years ago, the Talmud is written down. That is an important piece of information. Foreshadow, which is going to come in a minute. Here we go, hit it. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the Talmud, which is found on Megillah on page 6b. Now, I know what you're thinking. It actually starts on 6a on the bottom, which just gets confusing. 6b says the following. Rav Yitzchak said, what is meant by the verse in Psalms 149? Oh God, don't grant the desires of the evil man, and don't let him draw out his bit, lest he raise himself above others. Click it. His bit. Anyone who learned the Gemara will also know, I'm probably not supposed to say this, but I'm not an Aish guy. I just joined Aish, so I can say what I want, and we'll see. All right, so it doesn't say his bit. It doesn't say bit at all in the Gemara. It says something entirely different. It's just offensive to people, so we took it out to change it. But again, I'm from New York, so I'm offensive to people. So what we're going to do is be straight up. The Gemara says actually a nose ring. It says a nose ring. Why a nose ring? Why a nose ring? Does anyone know historically what was the purpose of a nose ring? To have control over somebody. Back in the day, it was one of these guys. If you want to go ahead and control someone, one of the most sensitive parts of the body is over here. You could push someone back easy like that. It's a direct, by the way, okay, for those who know Taekwondo, it's also a good spot to kill someone. Anyway, so point is that we have, even though not Taekwondo, it's still a good spot. You just know how to do it. Okay, so like this. That's right. Go straight up. Break it up. There we go. Okay, so now, in any event, get that off the recording. Edit that for all you con folk at home. Okay, so we have like this. What we say is bit, because the bit is the same idea. A bit of a drill. Some men are thinking, yeah. And the women are thinking, can I get a bit of cake, please? Just a bit. Right? But what does a bit actually mean? It means the part that goes in a horse's mouth. You have the reins, you have the bit. In order to have control, you can push it any which way you want it to go. Don't grant the desires of the evil man, and don't let him draw out his bit or the nose ring. For all those who get nose rings, you should know you're saying the following. I would like to be a slave. I'm sorry if that was too much. That's essentially what it is. Too soon again, apologies. Okay, keep it in there. So we go ahead and we say what? And that's what, in order to have control, don't let him draw out his bit. What does that even mean? Click. Underline, click, out. Okay, click. Says the Talmud this explanation. What does it mean when he says this idea? Jacob, our forefather, said to God, don't grant the desires of the evil man. This refers to Esau. That means if, and don't let him draw out his bit. Don't let him take out the thing which is controlling them. This refers to Germania of Edom. For should they go forth, they would destroy the entire world. Does Germania sound familiar to anyone? You're right, good. I had a group of someone. Is it France? Is it like France? No, okay. Okay, click again. Let's take a look. So what do we see? Germania of Edom. And let's take a look at a very fascinating idea over here. Who was Edom? Esau. Germania, Germany of Edom. Interesting. Linking back Germany to Edom. Is there anything strange about the Talmud mentioning Germany? Anyone? Germany didn't exist. Well, there was Germany, but it was just a scattered, Germany didn't exist till 300 years later. It was Charlemagne who established the Holy Roman Empire, which historians tell us was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. But you get the idea. Unbelievable. And yet the Talmud is mentioning it 300 years before, and the Vilna Gaon on the side of the page, the Yavitz really brings it down. By the way, for those who don't understand what I'm talking about, if not, it's totally fine. But it goes and says, this is Germany. Fascinating. Fascinating. Let's go a little bit. Take a look at this amazing quote, which I'm hoping is going to pop up now. Look at that. Same quote. All right, keep going. All right. The Gemara continues. When you say, don't let him draw out his bit, well, what is that bit? What does that mean? So it explains. Rabbi Chama Bar Chanina said, there are 300 crowned princes in Germania of Edom and 365 chieftains in Rome. And every day one goes out to meet the other and one of them is killed. And they all have the trouble of appointing a king again. What do we see over here? Click it. We got ourselves 300 crowned princes in Germania of Edom. Take a look at the quote from a book not long ago, The Rise and the Fall of the Third Reich. By the end of the Middle Ages, which had seen Britain and France emerge as unified nations, Germany remained a crazy patchwork of some 300 individual states. Not only does the Talmud mention Germany, which didn't yet exist, it mentions exactly how many states they're going to be. 300 crowned princes, 300 individual states. There's some crazy stuff going on. And take a look, my friends, at the following idea. What are the two things that we need in order to keep Germania of Edom in check? Every day one goes out to meet the other and they all have a war and they have to have all the problem. Make sure Germany, 300 crown princes. There's no one unifying factor. Everyone has, now I know that back in the day, the way that the world was set up, they had city-states, but still by the very nature of it was set up that it was disunified. As long as Germany remains in a state of disunity and you keep them fighting what's Rome? keep them fighting with Rome, then we're okay. But if you remove that bit, should they go forth, they could destroy the entire world. Click it. Was there ever a time when Germany was unified with itself as well as with Rome? Anyone? World War II. World War II. If you take a look, fascinating, we know that Hitler came along and made lots of treaties. He broke every treaty except for one, which he eventually also broke, but except for one, which he didn't. That was with Benito Mussolini, which is Italiano, Italy, Rome. Interesting. The place that the Talmud says, be careful, don't let Germany unify with himself as well as with Rome, because if that happens, we've got a problem. And when that happens, my friends, we had a problem. Which goes and shows us something quite familiar, and that is that perhaps from the Talmud, click it, we go and we see that indeed Amalek, the Nazis are descendants of Amalek, Germami of Edom. Now just as the cherry on top for that particular thing, if you don't like cherries, forget it. Whipped cream. You don't like whipped cream, we have to talk. But let's say, yeah, something above it. Parif, yeah, I'm not lactose intolerant, okay. Sugar-free, okay. Nothing, it's air. Just for the thing on top. It's a little bit strange. Out of all the places that Hitler could have come along and he could have made treaties with, the one that he keeps is with Italy. Take a look and try to figure out, why would he make a treaty with Italy? Now, you could say simply, the landmass, true. The waterfront, that's correct. They're both fascists, that's all makes sense. But look at it like militarily. What did the Nazis have? The Nazis had blitzkrieg, lightning war. They had submarines, they had ballistic missiles, debatable missiles. They had war fighter jets, unbelievable. What did the Italians have? They had, right, fettuccine and horses. As a matter of fact, the Italians lost every battle they ever fought. It's not fair. We have to give credit where credit's due. They did beat the Ethiopians. And the Ethiopians did not have any guns. Right? Okay, so amazing. But that's the one that the Talmud says, be careful. That's the one that Hitler actually makes a treaty with. And that the Talmud already predicted. We have Germania of Edom, linking back Germany, actually to Edom, to Amalek. The hand that wrote this book actually has control. But we're going to take it one step further. Mirza Hashem, Mirza Hashem, inshallah. Let's take a look. We're now going to jump into the storyline of Hanukkah, if you drank Purim. Here we go. Hit it. So now, hit it. Now we got ourselves a beautiful idea. Now this over here should look familiar to some of you, if not all of you. This is a picture of Megillas Esther. This is a very, very famous page of Megillas Esther. This particular page is where we have, what is it? The 10 names of the sons of Haman. Now we're going to take a look and we're going to do a little reading together. Click it, and we have ourselves over here. Now if you can see clearly, it says the following. I would like to read to you. It says the following. And the Jew, now this is not in most, okay? This is the same thing in English, okay? So we're going to read it together. And I want you to answer. I'm going to ask you a question. The question's going to be obvious, but play the game. Here we go. And the Jews struck at all their enemies with the sword. What they do it with? Sword. Good. And with slaughter and destruction, using what? Sword. They did as they pleased to those who hated them, using? Sword. And in Shushan, the capital, the Jews slew and destroyed with? Sword. 500 men, including the 10th of Haman, son of Amdasa, the enemy of the Jews, but they did not lay their hands on the spoils. I just have to share with you a pet peeve. If you've ever gone to a Megillah reading, and they go like, really, why do you do that? Because you have to say it in one breath. You have to say it in one breath. My friends, let's take a look. Ready? V'yeis parshandasa, v'yeis dalfon, v'yeis asposa, v'yeis parasa, v'yeis adalia, v'yeis haridasa, v'yeis parmashta, v'yeis harisai, v'yeis haridai, v'yeis havaizasa, the 10 sons of Haman. That was in one breath. We don't really have to run that fast, do we? Moving along. Okay, so now we have the following idea, and that is the 10 sons of Haman. Now, son of Amdasa, the enemy of the Jews, but they did not lay their hands on the spoils. How were the 10 sons of Haman killed?
Sword. Hung.
Sword.
Nobody got the right answer. Oh, that's not true. I take that back. Half of you got the right answer. The other half said a word wrong. Okay, hanged is the more accurate term, okay? Hung is a picture, hanged is a person. Lovely. Right? A person is hanged, not hung. However, it is not so that they were hanged in order to kill them. I think we just read explicitly, and I would be willing to bet, and when I say almost, because I don't have money, but I would be willing to bet if I did, that those who said the sword are coming from a background where they have not heard the Megillah many times, but you actually were paying attention. And those who said hanged were accurate for another time. Those who said hung, you went to yeshiva. Those who said hanged, you grew up religious, you heard the Megillah many times, but you still don't know the story. Unbelievable. It says pretty clearly, with the sword. No, but maybe the Gemara says with the sword also. They were killed with the sword. Later on, something happens with hanging, which we'll get to in a minute. All right. So they were go ahead, and they were destroyed. What happens next? Next is the following. That same day, the number of those killed in Shushan, the capital, was reported to the king. What's his name? Achashverosh. The king. What's his name? Said to Queen Esther. What was her name? Good. In Shushan, the capital. Where? Okay, in Shushan, the capital. The Jews have slain and destroyed. With what? Sword. The sword. 500 men, including 10 sons of Haman. Boo. What have they done in the rest of the king's providences? What is your request now? It shall be granted to you. What is your petition further? It shall be fulfilled. Okay, now, if anyone is paying attention, this should be a little strange. Achashverosh at this point knows who Esther is. And he goes, I can't believe, Esther, I can't, what? They killed like 500 people. What now? What would you like? Anything. Now, that's not strange in and of itself. What's more strange is her request. The king of the world comes to you. The war, he was the king. Melech ha'olam, melech ha'olam. He was rocking that thing. And he comes along and the king of the world says, what would you like? What do you say? What do you say? Everything. Good. What do you want? Everything. What do you say? Let the Jewish people come back to Israel. Let them rebuild the temple. Let's get the thing going. Can I get a new horse? Whatever they liked back then. What does she say? Next line. Esther replied, if it pleases the king, what's his name? Allow the Jews of Shushan to do tomorrow as they have done today, and let Haman's 10 sons be hanged on the gallows. The king ordered that this be done. Anything strange? Weren't they dead already? What? That's a waste of a slide. It's like a couple of trees fell for that one. All right. So we go ahead and we say, what? Huh? That's what you asked for? The king says, what do you want? Your Majesty, I'd like to hang 10 dead people. Okay, I always thought you were a little strange, Esther. Whatever you'd like. Anything else I could do for you? That's what she probably could have done it herself. Why would she go and hang 10 dead people? Anyone? To show what? Okay, that's an interesting answer. To show you don't mess with the Jews. That's Rashi, actually. Rashi says, don't mess with the Jews, aight? You mess with us, not only are we going to kill you, we're going to hang you. What up now? You. All right, so you go ahead, and that's one. One is, we go ahead, and you don't want to mess with us. But there's another answer, and that is as follows. There's something quite unique, otherwise known as unique, about Megillah Esther, the Book of Esther. Does anyone know how many books of Tanakh or Tanakh are there? How many books of Tanakh are there? Anyone? 24 is correct. There are 24 books of Tanakh. What is unique about the Megillah Esther? There's no mention of Hashem explicitly. The Lord's name is not mentioned even one time explicitly. Why is that? So we got very different answers. Anochi Aser Aser Espanai. Essentially, we know that God says we got to follow Jewish people. You're not following the Jewish people. We've got a problem. I'm sorry, that's something over and over. God says you got to follow me. You're not following me. We have a problem. So what happens? The Jews are doing great, and then they're not doing as great. So God says, that's it. I'm going to hide myself from you. I'm going to hide myself. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not going to see my face anymore. So what is that? The last book in Tanakh, at least in terms of being canonized, it's closed off with the Book of Esther, is not mentioned God's name anywhere. That you should see, I'm hiding myself. But don't think that means that God's not mentioned anywhere. It's just not explicit. And we're going to take a look and see, how is that so? Whenever it says the word melech, the sages tell us, what does the word melech mean? King. What does the word ha-melech mean? The king. Whenever it says ha-melech, it's a double entendre. It's a fancy word for it means two things. On the one hand, it means the king. the king of the time, Achashverosh. The other man, it means the king of kings, the Holy One, blessed be he, hallelujah, God. So we're going to take a look and see one more time. The king is an allusion, not alluding to, hinting towards God. Let's take a look and see. What was that like? God. Oh no, there's an O. It's fine. All right, now, take a look. Esther replied, if it pleases the king. Who's the king? God. Allow the Jews of Shushan. Who is Esther? She was rhymes with Maphatis. She was a prophet. You heard this class. She was a prophetess. Esther the prophetess says, if it pleases the king God, allow the Jews of Shushan to do tomorrow as they have done today. What is tomorrow in the language of prophecy? Future. Sometime in the future, as they've done through, and Haman boos, 10 sons be hanged on the gallows. The king ordered. What's this? Oh, the king ordered that this be done. Everybody gets it? Esther says to God, allow this to happen sometime in the future and let the 10 sons of Haman boo to be hanged on the gallows. And what happens next, my friends? Allow me to fast forward to October 16th, 1946. Goering ends life by poison. 10 others hanged in Nuremberg prison for Nazi war crimes. Doomed men on gallows pray for Germany. Now, it's a little bit strange, you should know, the fact that this is what happened to them. This is how they were killed. That wasn't even the style of doing it in that particular region. But okay, this is what ends up happening. Let's take a look and see how strange this gets. If it pleases the king, allow the Jews of Shushan to do tomorrow as they've done today, and let the 10 sons of Haman boo be hanged on the gallows. JJ, hit it, baby. Right, so we take a look. October 16th, 1946. New York, not relevant, but I am very fond. Next, let's take a look and see what's relevant about October 16th, 1946. Or in the Hebrew calendar, the year was not 1946, but it was year 5707. We'll explain that in a minute, or maybe even now. I don't remember. Oh, in Hebrew, this is known as Tuf Shin Zayin. Tuf Shin Zayin. Let's take a look and see what was October. Now, although it's true that they were killed in October, the Nuremberg Trials, I should say, take a step back, from perhaps some of you are not familiar with the Nuremberg Trials. There was a trial which happened in Nuremberg. It was called the Nuremberg Trials. Okay, now, so we have the following. And what was it? It was against Nazis for Nazi war crimes, and there were many people that were tried. Only 11 were convicted, and you see what happened. One of them committed suicide, Goering, and the other 10 were hanged for the crimes. They were actually supposed to be killed in June. But they did something pretty fancy footwork. They pled amnesty. Amnesty, it basically said, listen, we're really sorry. We won't do it again. Now, interesting. We go ahead and we actually listen to them to go ahead and discuss this, and they weren't killed in June. And they pushed it off until October. They were only killed in October. Why is that relevant? Because October 16th of that year fell out on the Hebrew date of Chaf Aleph Cheshvan. I was hoping someone would say it because I was confused. Right, Chaf 21st, which is the holiday of Hoshana Rabbah. What is Hoshana Rabbah? Take a look, and says the Zohar, on the 7th day of the Sukkot holiday, i.e. Hoshana Rabbah, the judgment of the nations of the world is finalized. Sentences are issued from the residence of the king. Judgments are aroused and executed on that day. Coincidentally, the date that they pushed off their own death date to, it would have been in June. They pushed off their own death date to was the day of judgment for the nations of the world, and they end up getting killed. That's one interesting idea. Then we take a look just a bit more, and this is where things are going to get a little bit crazy. The year we said was 5707. Now, how does that work? Take a look. So if you break it down, we know we are now, when we made this presentation, in the year Tufshin Ayin Gimel. Don't all y'all get confused. Like, what is it? Are we? Okay. This would translate as 5770. Hit it one more time. 5773. Now, this is crucially important to understand. We're now in 5778, people. Don't get too confused, but we're going to go back in time just for a minute. It wasn't Michael J. Fox. What are the second ones? All right, here we go. So we got Tufshin Ayin Gimel, and we would write that out as 5773. That's bad enough that we don't say 2012, like the year we're in now, in this world. It's bad enough that we're not saying 2017. We're saying 57 something or other. Why don't we at least say 5773? Why are we saying like this Taf Shin Ayin Gimel? The answer is that we have our way of counting. The whole world goes according to this numbering system, which is called Arabic numerals. The only ones, interestingly, that don't use the Arabic numbering system are Arabs, but it's only Middle Eastern. Middle Eastern Arabic uses another type of system. You take a look in the cabs, and if you see it, you should probably maybe take another cab. Now it goes that, and it says the following idea. Okay, now this is gematria. What's gematria, you ask? Let's take a look and see. The gematria works like this. Every letter has a value going from 1 until 400. Okay, you got 1s, 10s, and 100s. Okay, if you take a look, we have the Tuf is equal to 400. Shin, 300. Again. Ayin is 70. One more time. Gimel is 3. Put that together. You have 400, 370, and 3 comes out to 773. So you see it matching up with the year Tuf Shin Ayin Gimel, 5773. Is that clear? Sorry? Where's the? No questions. No questions. Thank you. There's no time. It's beyond the scope of the shiur. Email me. All right. I'll get back to you. Okay. Blee never. Okay. All right. So now, let's take a look and see how this works. Right? Take a look. Now, we take a look and we find. Click it again and we'll see what's going to happen. Let's go back. Okay, we're going to go back one. Okay, we're going to take a look and see. It's going to say in a minute to answer that question. For all those who said add a hey, shkoyach, it doesn't work. Because if you add a hey, all you end up with 778. Right? It's 7. What? Oh, make it a big hey. Make it very big. Okay, so if you add a hey, it just makes it 5, and then you have 778, so it doesn't really help us. You'd actually need a little more. I think it's going to come to it later, but I'll help all you out. It's very simple. The biggest number that we have, we're going to see in a minute, but the biggest number that we have in Hebrew, in the Gematria, is the number 400. If we wanted to get to the year 5773, how many tufts would you need? 12 and a half. So basically it would go like this. Yeah, you come to Israel, you move there, you're like, hey, you know what? Forget the English calendar. I'm going by the Hebrew calendar. So when you move here, I've been here since half Shin Ayin Gimel. So what we did is we get rid of the tufts and we write the core 773. Is that clear? Does everybody get that? And we assume you know what millennia you live in. Yes? If you don't, I can't help you. But again, thank you for coming to presentation. Okay, so let's take a look. Now's where things get a little bit crazy. If it pleases the king, allow the Jews of Shushan to do tomorrow as they've done today, and let the 10 sons of Haman be hanged on the gallows. We see it's pushing up to October 16th, 1946, which turns out to be Hoshana Rabbah, pushing to the judgment of the nations of the world. But now's where things get crazy. I'm talking about things get dangerous, Darkwing Duck style. Let's take a look and see. We have over here the 10 names of the sons of Haman. Now I want you to focus only on this side of the screen, just this side of the screen. This is the 10 names of the sons of Haman. Even if you don't speak a word of Hebrew, this is all hieroglyphics, you don't even know what's going on. Let's take a look and see. Play a little game that some of you played on Rehov Tzumtzum, known as Sesame Street. Which of these things is not like the other? So let's hit it. Take a look at the first name. Okay? Does anyone notice? Go back, now forward, back, and now forward. Did anybody notice a small letter? I don't know if you noticed a small letter out of the letters that are found over here. This is the letter Taf. Vanna, can you put that up on the board? Just thank you. Right there. Thank you. Taf. Okay, that's the letter Taf. Let's go back into the names. Take a look again. Let's go forward into the names. Forward into the names. My bad. We have again over here. Look at this name. Don't go. Right over here. Do you see over here any letters that are particularly small? We have here this letter. Zoom in. That's the shin. Go one more. Take that shin. Pop that thing right up top. We've got a shin. Go right back in. We got a shin. No, I'm sorry. Forward. Then we have like this. Don't do it. Right over here, the last name. We have the name Vaizasa. Vaizasa, or if you prefer, if you're Sephardi, Hebrew, Vaideta. Right over here. We have another small letter. Not a yud because that's normal, but the letter. Zoom in. The letter Zion. Put it up. We got over here 3 letters that are mentioned in the 10 names of the sons of Haman. In the names If the Megillah, written 2,000 years ago, we have 3 small letters. That's quite unusual. I wouldn't say phenomenally unusual, because they are scattered throughout the Torah. Bigger letters, smaller letters, but it's still quite unusual. And the 3 letters that are small fall in the names of the 10 sons of Haman. Well, why is that significant? Well, take a look. Anybody know what year was it? October 16, 1946 fell in the Hebrew calendar to the year 5707, which is Tuf Shin Zion. And now, if you don't read well, that's fine, but you should notice something over here. You should notice something over here, right? You should see that. I see some of you are a little bit Zion Shin Tuf. Right, okay, we have over here Tuf Shin Zion. If it pleases the king, let a Judas Shushan do tomorrow, don't they? Let the 10 sons of Haman be hanged on the gallows, hidden within the names of the 10 sons of Haman. This isn't something at Discovery that we decided to change. Every Megillah that's been written accurate for the last 2,000 years has a small Tuf Shin Zion over there, alluding to the fact of the year 5707. Oh, that's quite crazy. Oh, but it gets crazy. Is that even possible? It is. Take a look. Okay, yes, that was crazy. Now, hold on one second. Now, for all those before who are wondering, now hold on one second, Friedman. Hold on one second. I'm Friedman. Hold on one second, Friedman. I thought it was Rav Gab. Okay, Friedman. We have over here 707. 707. That's good. And we know what millennia we're in now. But how do we know when Esther wrote this in the Men of Great Assembly 2,000 years ago that they meant 5707? Tuf Shin Zion can be in any year. It could be 4707, 3707, 6707, 10,000,007. How do we know she meant 5707? Now we can ask the question. The answer is as follows. How many times have we had the number system 707 from the first time 707 up until and including 5707? Shouldn't be complicated, people. It's on the board. All right? Okay, we have 6 times. 707, 1707, 27, 37, 47, 5707. 6 times. So how do we know that she meant the 6th time and not the 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd? Take a look at the 10 names of the sons of Haman again. You should now notice, if you look at all of them, there's one letter that if you speak a little Hebrew that should look out that's a little bit bigger than the rest of the letters. Does anybody see it? It's in the last name, zoom in, the letter Vav. Anybody know what the letter Vav numerically equals? That would be 6. The 6th time that it comes up, 707, allow the Jews of Shushan to do tomorrow what they've done today. Let the sons of Haman be hanged on the gallows. The king ordered that this be done. This, my friends, is getting crazy. However, it gets crazier. Because we know that Haman only had 10 sons. How many died at Nuremberg?
11.
How many died at Nuremberg? 10 others, including Hermann Goering, right? Committed suicide. So what do we have? We got ourselves 10 Goering, and we have ourselves 11. So what's going on over here? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. This is where things get quite interesting. Stay with me now. I'm going to go very, very quickly. There was a fellow named Mordecai. Mordecai, we know at the time, was living in the times of Achashverosh, who was the king, and he overheard there was a conversation going on with the king. So what does he do? He hears these 2 people that want to kill the king. So he goes and he tells, King, they want to kill you. He says, no, don't let them kill me. And it finds out at the end of the day, they go, a big son and Sarah, they go and they kill these 2 guys. And what ends up happening? They write down Mordecai's name in the Book of the Chronicles, the Sefer Zechronos, that he goes and he saved the king. Years later, what happens is a guy named Haman. The king was trying to sleep. He couldn't sleep one night. And what happens? He wakes up in the middle of the night and he finds out that there was there's someone, he can't sleep. Read me something. Read me the Book of the Chronicles. So, of course, who wouldn't want to read the Book of the Chronicles? And the name of, and the name of, and the name of, and the name of, and the name of. But they go ahead, not this Chronicles, a different one. They start reading about everything that's going on over there. There was different Yom Yalef for Bezos before that. They go and start reading. What did they do? And he says, this guy Mordecai saved your life. He saved my life. What did we do for him? We didn't do anything for him. We didn't do anything for him. We must do something for him. And as he goes, we must do something for him. When he hits the Haman, Haman walks in, and he says, oh, your majesty. He says, oh, Haman, I got a question for you. He says, what is it? He goes, what should be done to the one who the king wants to greatly honor? What should we do for him? He goes, oh, he's probably talking about me. All right, I'll play this game. You should let me, him, ride on the royal horse of the king. And also let him, be drawn through the kingdom by another one of your servants, hopefully the lowly Mordecai, the Jew, yelling out, Kacha yeyaseh, lo ish asher hamelech, lo ish asher hamelech, chafetz bikaro. So, you know that song, right? No, just me? Okay. So you got that. So is done to the one who the king wants to greatly honor. He says, Haman, that is a great idea. Go do that for Mordecai, the Jew. Now we know that Haman was not fond of Mordecai. He wanted to kill him. So he's like, no, Your Majesty, I don't think that, it's a bad idea. Why don't we just like name a street after him? He's like, you know what, that's a great idea, do that also. He's like, no, maybe just like a city, just give him like a city. He's like, great idea, do that also. He's like, I better stop talking. So he goes out there, and what does he do? He takes Mordecai, puts him on the royal horse, he starts dragging him through town yelling, so was done to the what the king wants to greatly honor. And we know that Haman had 10 sons, but he also had a daughter. And his daughter sees this whole procession of people making their way down the streets. So what does he do? What does she do? She goes to the second floor of their balcony, of their villa. She takes a chamber pot. For those who are not familiar with the chamber pot, I think in French it's called la toilette. I believe in Spanish it's el baño. In Canada it's the water closet. In England it's the loo. And here in America it's the can. She proceeds to take the can and pours on his head something. He looks up and goes, oh my goodness. And she goes, that's right. And she realized, oh my goodness, that was Dad. She throws herself to her death, committing suicide. 10 are killed. 10 are killed. 1 commits suicide. 1 commits suicide. Where did Hermann Goering hide the cyanide with which he killed himself? In the toilet. Disgusting? Last Supper. You get a last request, whatever. But I know what you're all thinking. It's a nice little parallel, but I mean, these are 10 guys, and this is 10 guys, and that's an 11th guy, and that's 11. It's a girl. So which one is it? Which one is it? The answer to that, my friends, is Mrs. Doubtfire. For those who are not familiar, that Hermann Goering liked to get dressed up in women's clothing. If you don't like this, don't take it up with the Discovery. Take it up with the Discovery Channel. I actually saw a documentary on Hermann Goering. It wasn't just on his gotchkas, but it shows that Hermann Goering liked to wear women's clothing underneath his uniform. So we got, he's a he, she's a he, he's a she, and we got 10 and 10, 11, 11, and we're looking for the hand that wrote this book actually had control. I think this is quite some important and perhaps compelling evidence, friends. What would be amazing, it would be amazing, I think I'm over time, but it would be amazing if at the trials, if they would just yell out, all right, Jews, we are the Nazis, that would be too much. Or would it be? Take a look, we have an article just found in Newsweek, I believe it's October 28th, 1946, if I can just go down to the last paragraph. Only Julius Streicher went without dignity. He had to be pushed across the floor, wild-eyed and screaming, Heil Hitler. Mounting the steps, he cried out, and now I go to God. He stared at the witnesses facing the gallows and shouted, Purim Fest, 1946. And Newsweek is kind enough to tell us that Purim, back, is a Jewish feast. Now, this, my friends, a little bit phenomenal. Purim Fest. What should he have yelled? It was Hoshana Rabbah time. He should have yelled out Sukkah party. If you want to yell anything, it was this holiday of Sukkot. Purim is not for months down the line. Why is he yelling Purim Fest? Almost as if to say, you got us. This is a story of Purim all over again. We are the descendants of Haman, boo. And this, my friends, is the final straw that what's going on. And we were looking for, at the end of the day, I'm hoping it says the word, please. Okay, and then over here we see that indeed groggers are a plus. And after that, we were looking for 3 battles. Jacob and Esau, all going to the land of Israel. 3 battles, descendants of Jacob and Esau, all going to the land of Israel. 3 times trying to stop them, 3 times trying to stop them, all seeing at the end of the day, what do? They come out with the idea of control that shows that the hand that wrote this book actually has control. Now, friends, I want to share with you just to bring this all together. Understand something. Nice, good, cool, fascinating presentation. And those who saw Rabbi Zeldman's codes, amazing presentation. I don't know if they do 7 wonders. I think they did over Shabbos or something, whatever it is. For those who saw the 7 wonders, a fascinating presentation. ID info, if you didn't see it, you got to see it. If you ever been to Israel, you come, you check it out. This stuff is amazing. It's unbelievable. But it's not enough. Information is good. Information is good. But it's not going to impact your lives. Information is a tool to be able to impact your lives. But if you really want to impact them, the question is, what do you now do with that information? What do you now do with that information? Imagine a book called the Torah would fall from the sky. It did. Unbelievable. It did. How many people would be clamoring over to get it? Everyone would be jumping over to get it. Well, you know, it did fall from the sky, and we're lucky enough that we got it. The question we have to ask ourselves, how much time does it deserve? How much time should we put into it? A day, a week, a month? I leave that up to you. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you when I see you. Take care and goodbye.